Yeah.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming to another Workshop Wednesday. I'm Jennifer from the League of Cities and Towns, and today we have Chris Farrell here with us from the governor's office to discuss giving you some money. So, who can resist that? So, thanks, Chris, for being here, and
Yeah.
I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Great to be here. Hi, everybody. So my name's Chris Farrell. I'm a senior advisor to Governor Dan McKee. And I also, my other hat that I wear is as the Federal Affairs Director and as the coordinator for the bipartisan infrastructure law, all the grants that have come down from that, the funding that's come down. And so, when Biden first passed this law in November 2021, we went out to different cities and towns. I spoke with a lot of folks, in the cities and towns to ask, what do you need from us to be able to pursue these grants? And so there were two common themes. The first one was capacity building resources. So a lot of folks are saying, hey, I don't have a full-time grant writer on staff, I don't have engineers or people to run a grant project. And so I said, okay, that's good to know. And what we did was we teamed up with the Partnership for Rhode Island, and we created Compete RI. A number of you have probably heard from Tom Giordano or worked with him. He's fantastic. He's been a great partner to us. And so basically that's what Compete RI is. They, as many of you probably know, they hire grant writers, they hire project managers, and for free, they deploy them out to any municipality that's going after an IIJA grant that needs help. They also do it with agencies too. I mean, DEM is using two of their grant writers right now for a Green Ports grant opportunity from the federal government. So they provide those capacity resources to go after those grants. And then the number two thing I heard from the cities and towns was these matching fund requirements. So, if you're going after a $5 million grant, a lot of the times the federal government will require you to provide 10 to 20% of matching funds for that grant. And a bunch of cities and towns told me, well, we just can't afford that. We don't have the budget to raise or to give $1 million towards a $5 million grant. And so we understood, we heard that. We worked with Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. We worked with the legislature. We reached out to other cities and other states across the country to see what they have done for this issue. And states like Colorado and Nevada and North Carolina, I spoke with on the phone, and they're like, we created a municipal matching funds pool. And so that's what we did here. We created a municipal matching funds pool. So the legislature last year gave us $5.5 million. They put it under the MIGP program out of RIB, the Municipal Infrastructure Grant Program. And so it's $5.5 million, and the RFP was sent out in November. But essentially what it is it's money that we provide we provide 80% of your matching fund requirement. So if you were, going after a $1 million grant and it requires 20% match, we would provide 80% of that 20% match. So 80% of the $200,000 would just be a no strings attached funds. We just provide over to you so you can go after that IIJA grant. And so we have that. We have 5.5 million still there. We sent out the RFP. There's an application process. The application process is essentially just filling out the information you would be filling out in your grant anyways, and you provide it to a group at RIB, similar to the MIGP program. They do scoring similar to what MIGP has always been, and then we rate it, and we provide a reserve for you for that 80%. So if you actually win the IIJA grant, you'll have 80% of funds already paid for towards that matching fund requirement. So what I want to do is show just to show you the RFP that got sent out, just so maybe it'll jog folks' memory before I open up to questions. But share my screen right here. And so here is the request for proposal that got sent out in the first week of November. So it goes through the summary, the overview, has all the descriptions. If you don't think you've received this, let me know. Jennifer will be providing my contact information to everybody. But please let me know if you don't think you've received this RFP. It pretty much outlines the whole program, has the application deadline, funding availability, and then my contact information, and also Anna, who's a great partner with us at the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. She's great. So, and this RFP also refers you to the spreadsheet, which the spreadsheet you should have it. This spreadsheet, what it does is it shows you all of the IIJA grants. So that bipartisan infrastructure law, it's a bunch of grants pretty much in the law, and there's a certain amount of them that are available to Rhode Island municipalities. And so I had one of my policy advisors here, go through all of the grants and identify the ones that would be eligible or available to Rhode Island municipalities and put them in a spreadsheet. So this is kind of your guide to, you can look through any one of these grants, all of them you'll be eligible to go after, and fit them with
Chris,
the project that you want. Yep.
can you share the spreadsheet because we're still looking at the letter?
Oh, I thought I brought it up. The spreadsheet, let's see. How do I,
It's always when there's another window to open on our computers, like we need one more.
let me, hold on, I'll try to do it this way.
Okay.
Is the spreadsheet up now?
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, nice. All right. Thank you. Thank you for catching that.
Mhm.
So yeah, so this spreadsheet, it's got the name. So we'll say, we'll go to advance recycling and manufacturing energy, right? So this is one of the grants. It's got the category. So if you have a project in your town that's related to infrastructure and you're wondering, does it fit in one of these grants? You can go to the different categories. It has the link right here to the grant. So all of the additional information will be at this link for each of these grants. It's got a description right here, so you can kind of get a sense of what the grant is and what it's targeting. It has eligible recipients, and then it has some other information here like federal cost share, and latest actions and updates. But the link will provide you the most amount of information with regard to this grant. But you'll be able to see the description will help you see like kind of what the grant is focusing on with regard to, and see if it fits the project that you have. But there's about 190 grants here. So you can go through them to see which ones you'd want to go after. Once you identify it, you then, I'm just gonna do it this way instead of switching from back and forth. Once you pick out the grant that you want, you just go over to the application, which was sent over with the RFP. Then you just fill out the application here. It's about 3 pages. And then you just send that in to the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. Very, very similar to what the Municipal Infrastructure Grant Program is or was. And then we do a scoring over there at the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. And then we give you a call, and more than likely it's going to pass muster. It's going to get an approval. Even if it doesn't, even if it falls short, we're going to help you provide the information to get it to that level. We're not just going to say, oh, this didn't reach the number of the points, this didn't reach approval level, so better luck next time. We're going to work with you. We're going to have grant writers from Compete RI available for you to help with your application process if it doesn't reach the level of approval once it's first submitted. So we're going to try and we want to get as many people into this program as possible, because it only benefits the entire state of Rhode Island if we have a bunch of great infrastructure projects happening all at the same time. So that's the municipal matching funds pool. I'll stop talking for now. It was a good 7 minutes straight of talking, and open it up to any questions, because the thing that we're most concerned about at the governor's office is we've created this program. It's modeled off of other states that have been very successful with this program. Those other states, because of the success of this type of program, their legislature has allowed them to do this for other federal grant programs. So their municipalities are getting even a larger, matching funds pool for other grant programs because they've seen the success. So, nobody's applied yet. And at the end of this session, the legislature is going to be checking in with us to see, like, hey, how many folks have applied? And if it's still zero, I wouldn't blame them if they divert these funds towards something else. So we really
Chris,
want these funds to go out.
so this is so I get a better understanding because I have to step out of the room for a minute.
Yeah.
We right now, we have applied for certain grants. Like we got an EDA grant that we need $100,000 match. That we're going to try to find that $100,000 match within. Would this matching fund be available to us for grants that we've already been awarded, or does it have to be a grant that we're applying for right now? How does that work?
That's a great question. So, so two things. One, unfortunately, right now it has to be an IIJA grant. So EDA it wouldn't apply to. But there's the opportunity to make it more broad. If this program is successful, the legislature could make this much more broad. The second question, even like if you applied for one in November, and you haven't received the result yet, you can still apply for the matching funds. We would still apply that, retroactively. If you're saying, hey, we thought we could get the 20%, we're still having a little bit of issue here getting that 20%. We would definitely want you to apply for this, and we'd be able to apply those funds retroactively to help you while you're waiting to see if your grant application will be approved.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we actually just reached out to Providence today because I heard they applied for an IIJA grant in December, and I reached out and said, hey, you could still apply for this program, to get that 20%, because you're not going to hear back for another, as we all know, for probably another like 4 months. So, we still want to help you out if you need help in that area.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm sorry, I got a little distracted when that conversation was just had. My question is, when you apply for these infrastructure bank grants, you have to identify your 20% match in your application. And if that's the case, which is normally, I just signed off on a few of them the other day, where we have to already identify where our money's coming from. Is this one of those situations where you don't have to actually do that? And then you can say, okay, we applied for this secondary program to cover the 20% match?
Yes, that's a great question. So this is very different from a regular Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank grant. This is a federal grant, right? So this is from the federal government. So this is an IIJA grant. So with the federal government in these grant applications, they say similar to the infrastructure bank, but for the federal government, they ask you, do you have do you have your matching fund secured? Are you able to meet this 20%? What we would be doing for you is we'd be giving you an approval of kind of like a reservation for this 80%. So you'd be able to say yes on that application. Yeah, that's why we'd like you to, when you're submitting your IIJA grant, we'd like to submit this application so we can give you that reservation, so you're able to say yes, I have the available funds for these matching requirements.
So you have to have that done before you submit the actual grant in order to basically certify that you've got the 20% available.
Yeah, that's ideal, right? That's ideal, right? Is you look at this spreadsheet, right, Mike? I remember, Mike, you're like one of my first conversations when I became IIJA coordinator, actually, like back in I think it was May of 2022 with Tom Giordano. But yeah, basically the idea, here's the ideal way to go about it. As you go to the spreadsheet, you say, hey, I've got this big port project in my town, and here are 4 port grants that are available from under IIJA. I'm going to apply to 2 of the 4 because I think they fit the best. What you would do is fill out the application for your matching fund right away. Send it to us. The turnaround is going to be very quick, and then we're able to tell you, yes, you're approved for that reservation. So you have that reservation before you submit your grant to the federal government. So you can say, like, yes, the state has secured for me 80% of this matching requirement, and I have the other 20%.
Yeah, and this is for a loan and or a grant, right? This isn't just for one or the other, right?
This is just for a grant. This is only grants. This is just the federal. So the Biden, so this is the bipartisan infrastructure law that President Joe Biden passed in November of 2021. This is his landmark law that he passed. These are the grants that make up that law. So that law is just basically 450 grants. And so we've identified the 190 that municipalities are eligible to go after. Right. So this is just federal grants.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Did we see another question?
Anybody else? I think. Any other questions at all? All right.
Looks
Well,
like we got it there.
This is great. So I know Jen, I'll work with Jen. She'll send out this info again, just in case you didn't get it from the infrastructure bank when they first sent it out back in the beginning of November. But I definitely implore you to look through it. You know, again, we'd love to at least have 3 of the 5 million out, or as much as possible, to show the legislature that this is a need, because that's what they'll say to us at the end of it. If this money isn't used, they'll just say, well, the cities and towns didn't need it, so we're gonna send that money somewhere else, which is understandable for them to do. But you know, from my first early conversations, it seemed like this was a need, so we want to provide this opportunity to folks, you know, to use it as much as possible, or as much as they need. Mike?
More quick question. Sorry about that. Has there been any thought to capping the amount of the money so you can distribute more to more cities and towns?
So yeah, so you'll see in the RFP and in the application, you'll see when it was sent out, it is up to $1 million. So the infrastructure bank would give out 800,000 would be the max amount that they would give out for each grant. Yeah. Yep. Great question. Mayor?
So, Jen, you're going to send us that spreadsheet again with all of the grant availability. I think my economic development director has that already, but I just wanted to see that again. And a lot of those grants, some of them have closed out. Do we know how many grants opportunities are still open for application purposes?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So they close out every year, but they're still open every year. So basically it's for 5 years straight. So there's another 3 years you'll have these same grants that'll be open every single year. Okay. Yeah. So we have, like, for example, on the state side, we literally have there are, I think, 10 of the really big IIJA grants that we organize every single year to apply for it, because they're open every year. So we're ready for them to come out, and then we'll apply. And you know, it's kind of a try again, because sometimes we'll not get it 2 years in a row. But we just got this big infrastructure grant for DOT, it's $81 million, and they submitted that application 3 years in a row to the same grant program. These are highly competitive programs, but at a certain point they do, you know, there is a reward at the end of the day.
Yeah, so I'll definitely distribute the spreadsheet, and I'm going to post it on our website as well. And I'll share Chris's contact info. And I've also recorded the session, so and it'll be on our YouTube channel. So that link to the YouTube channel is on my email signature as well, so you guys can share it with your staffs, and then, you know, anybody has questions, let me know.
Awesome.
Jen?
All right. Yes.
Do you think you could add me to the list of invites, because I tend to get it third hand through the mayor, then RJ? It would be helpful.
All right. Can you just shoot me an email, and then I'll make sure that we add you?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
Jim,
you.
did you have a question?
Nope, thank you.
You just want to say hi? Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Chris.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you so much for having me here.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Absolutely. All right. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.